also for those of you who basically are renting homes, we want you to get your credit straight so you can buy your home. Now also refinancing, for those of you who need to refinance, the interest rates may be where you can save some money, lower that mortgage payment, if you will, there. And also for our veterans, we really want to get you all in some homes. But Rob, God bless you. Happy Valentine's Day, Rob. What's going on, man?
You know what? Today's a wonderful day, and I just had to be here with my two favorite people, you and Sherry. Oh, and Tanya. We can't forget Tanya. So, yeah, every day's a blessing, and I'm just happy to be here.
All right, well, let's wish our wives a happy Valentine's Day, because you came to my wedding there with your bride. And
oh yeah, she's one of my favorites too.
We want to wish him a happy Valentine's Day. Well,
yes.
It's been a minute, but what's going on in terms of the home buying market, refinancing and everything?
You know, the market has gotten a little off track here lately. And when I say a little off track, we ended 2019 with a huge gain in property values and a tremendous amount of volume. Things started to slow down a little bit. I think with the actual cold weather here in January and moving into February, we've seen a little bit of an uptick in volume. But January was relatively slow. What that means is that home prices haven't really moved, and so this is a great opportunity, certainly for our listeners who would like to become homeowners, to actually become active in the marketplace. You know, we do so much work with individuals who maybe don't have perfect credit, or who have credit that they feel is less than acceptable. Mm-hmm. This is the right time to go ahead and begin that process. Let us create a threshold, an action plan to move forward with. Let's go ahead and develop a path towards success. Sometimes it's not as difficult as you think. Bankruptcies are not always going to be prohibitive. Foreclosures are not always going to be prohibitive in purchasing a new home. A lot of it just has to do with the way that we set the loan up, and of course, with that being said, you need to begin the process. You'll never finish the process of becoming a homeowner if you don't start somewhere, and that's one of the reasons why we've done this show for the past 22 years. Our goal is to turn everybody into an informed consumer and give them the information they need to make a good clear choice when it comes to where they want to live, or where they want to lay their head at night, as you always say.
Yes, sleep in that investment, and while you're accruing wealth and value in that home, because these homes have just skyrocketed in this market. The homes are just the value, like I said, they're just going up. I mean, that's good, but we're not going to price people out of the market, are we?
Well, some people, unfortunately, some people are having a little bit of a difficulty in finding homes. I think that there will always be homes available, and I'm sure of that. But again, you know, the days of being able to ride down any given street and see a house for sale that you like and point to it and say, I want to buy that house, those days are gone. You can't really go out and find a home now without the assistance of a good realtor. And I think realtors are something that we touch on every once in a while, but a good realtor is very important to a real estate transaction, whether you are wanting to purchase a home or whether you're wanting to sell your home. You need to have a good realtor. And I want to also add to that not every realtor is a good, capable realtor, just like not every mortgage lender is a good, capable mortgage lender. Yeah. So you know, you need to interview these people you choose to work with. You need to clearly make a decision that the individual you're choosing to work with is going to represent you in the fashion that you're comfortable with. This is a very solid market, whether you are buying a home or selling a home. This is the right time to be active, but you need to make sure you align yourself with the right people. And that's one of the reasons why we've spent so much time here on this show reaching out to the community at large. I certainly want to encourage our listeners to give me a call, and my direct dial phone number is going to be 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. You can also reach me via the internet. Just go to Lenders Texas, LendersTexas.com.
All All right, and if you want to speak with Rob, our phone lines are open at 972-996-3970 on this Valentine's Day, 972-996-3970. That's our number to call. Now, Rob, take for example, we may have a veteran out there, and he's thinking about getting married, bringing her and crossing on over and things of that sort. Now, for a lot of the veterans, do they have to qualify for these, like credit scores, stuff like that? Do they have to qualify, or they can just get the loans?
Yeah, Robert, I've worked with so many veterans, and the interesting thing about veterans and about the VA specifically is that a VA loan carries no minimum credit score. I want to highlight that, no minimum credit score. When you as a consumer, when you hear the big banks or when you hear brokers or other people talk about a 620 or a 660 minimum credit score, those are overlays that are being put on that VA loan. They are not what the VA wants. The VA wants to put veterans into homes, and I know I have this conversation often with veterans when we speak. To the contrary, the VA is doing what they can to put veterans into houses. No minimum credit score on a VA loan with us. What we're going to look at is the last 12 to 18 months of the veteran's financial life and how they've helped themselves. The reason that's so important is because we are looking to establish a consistency of financial responsibility, and that's really what we need to see for the VA to guarantee that loan. Now, that doesn't mean that there's a down payment involved. The VA loan will always be no down payment.
That was my next question.
Doesn't matter if it's a 510 score or a 710 score. There is no down payment ever required on a VA loan. Now, that has nothing to do with closing costs, and that's something else that we need to differentiate. On any mortgage loan, there are two major categories: your down payment and your associated closing costs. Associated closing costs are all the costs involved with actually closing that loan, everything from title insurance to the appraisal to the processing to the underwriting of the file, to your tax and your insurance escrows, and all the other miscellaneous items that pop up in a mortgage loan transaction. When you get a VA loan, which is a no down payment loan, that literally means you're not making a down payment, but you still have to address the closing costs. And in today's market, we're seeing a lot of sellers that are willing to pay those closing costs. So, I'm putting veterans into homes right now with, $500 into the transaction. I've seen veterans actually get money back at closing in a mortgage transaction, just because of the way we've been able to structure the loan. So, certainly for our veterans that are listening, this is the right time to be in the marketplace, regardless of your credit score. This is the right time to be looking at purchasing a home or certainly refinancing a home. The VA has also established a refinance program for veterans that is not credit score driven. More importantly, the VA refinance in many cases does not require an appraisal, and it does not require income documentation or a credit score. So the VA is really doing what they can to help veterans. And like I said, I know that is an all-encompassing comment, but when it comes to homes, if you're a veteran and you're listening to us, whether you're a homeowner currently or you aspire to become a homeowner, please give us a call and allow us the opportunity to help you better your position.
All right, well, let's give out that phone number again and got some more questions.
Yes, sir. That number again is 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. And you can also reach me on the internet. Just go to lenderstexas.com, lenderstexas.com, or find us on Facebook, where we are actually broadcasting live at the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team.
Beautiful. I want to say it up to the Facebook team there, Facebook crowd of Facebook listeners. A lot of folks there on Facebook. But once again, Rob Stern of Lenders Residential Mortgage is our guest. 972-996-3970. That's our number. Let's take a quick call here on Heaven 97. We're talking about the American Dream of home ownership here. And caller, we think you're on with Rob. Caller, go right ahead, please.
Yes. Hey, Rob said if you refinance your home, with any credit score, if you're a veteran.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. You said refinance your home if you're a veteran, regardless of the credit score?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Are you in a VA loan right now?
Yes, sir. I am. What is the VA
Interest rates are going to be driven entirely by the type of loan that we're structuring. But right now, rates are in the low fours on a VA refinance, perhaps even the high threes, depending on how we structure it. What's your current interest rate, sir?
It's 4.5%.
Okay. Well, it may not make sense for you to refinance depending on how much money we can actually save you. But why don't you give me a call when we get off the air, and I'm more than happy to go ahead and take a look at everything and see what we can figure out, help you any way I can, and try and save you some money.
What about this Texas Veteran Program? You ever do that?
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with the Texas Veterans Program. Now, the Texas Vet Program is a little bit different than a traditional VA loan, because it's actually managed by the state of Texas. The parameters on the Texas Vet Program are quite a bit different than a traditional VA loan. But if you give me a holler when we're off the air, and we can talk through it. Well, we can talk through it in some more detail, and I'll get you some specific answers to your questions.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Right.
Yes, sir. That number again is 972-739-2350, 972-739-2350.
Appreciate it. Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. You have a blessed day.
Oh, yeah, that's one of our regular callers. I want to salute him for serving the United States. All right,
Absolutely.
A quick call. Rob Stearns with us here today on Heaven 97. Caller, we thank you. You're on the Rob. Caller, go right ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Dr. Ashley.
Good afternoon, sir.
Michael Bowden, disabled veteran.
All right, Mike.
Born and raised here in Dallas, Texas. I'm listening to Mr. Stern, and I want to get some clarity on the program that you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
I've had some credit challenges. Don't meet the credit specification, but I do have a kind of a sketchy 12 to 18 month payment schedule on the creditors. And I'm still hitting the wall, but I'm renting a property that the landlord wants to aggressively help me buy. But I'm hitting the wall when it comes to getting funding. Can you help me? Can you answer that question?
So, Mike, turn your radio down just a tad there. Mike, just so we get a little feedback. But go right ahead there, Rob.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, good to you.
Yeah, Michael, I think I spoke to you maybe yesterday, didn't I?
Yeah, you sound real.
I called you back, buddy. We just missed one another. But
and you're absolutely right. So let me just give a plug for what we think the program is working for this
Praise God, praise God.
If we do our part with our 12 to 18 month payment history without the creditors.
Yes, sir.
I'll talk with you offline, Bob, about continue on this relationship. But I wanted to give a plug to Dr. Ashley in this program for being proactive for veterans here in Dallas.
Praise God.
We're caught up.
He's a one of a kind individual, and he deserves all that praise. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you.
Oh, absolutely. God bless you, buddy.
God bless you,
Thank you
Mike.
for your service.
Thanks, Dr. Ashley, for taking my call.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your service to this Democratic Republic we call America. All right, 972-996-3970. Rob, another quick question about the veterans. Now, PMI, can you define that? And do our veterans have to have PMI when they get these loans?
Sure. Let's talk about mortgage insurance. So, a traditional loan, whether it is going to be a conventional loan, meaning Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, or it's going to be an FHA loan, or even a USDA loan, is going to have something called upfront mortgage insurance. If we are financing on a conventional loan anything over 80%, excuse me, and when we are financing an FHA loan or a USDA loan, it will always have mortgage insurance. Upfront mortgage insurance is charged on government loans, not on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. On a VA loan, there is no upfront mortgage insurance. Rather, what's charged is called a funding fee, and that funding fee is only applicable for individuals that do not have some sort of an exemption. In other words, individuals typically that are receiving at least 60% medical disability, are absolved from that funding fee. So literally, it's a very inexpensive loan. In addition to that, the VA loan has no monthly mortgage insurance whatsoever, regardless of the amount of the size of the loan or the credit score. Whereas your Fannie Mae, your Freddie Mac, even your FHA loan are going to have that monthly mortgage insurance.
Now, let me ask you now: can widows of veterans, if they have a DD 214, can they use this program?
And interestingly enough, Robert, the DD-214 actually is the discharge document that
Yes.
a veteran receives when they're discharged. A discharge document, though, does not automatically mean that the veteran is eligible for their benefits when it relates to a mortgage loan. And the reason I say that is because I had a unique situation with an individual the other day who was actually only enlisted for 6 months. It was a young lady who became pregnant and was discharged. She received a honorable discharge, but she was not enlisted long enough to accumulate benefits.
Wow.
So just having a DD-214 does not always guarantee it. Most of the time it would, but clearly it doesn't always guarantee the veteran's benefits. There is certainly a VA portal that every veteran can go to on the internet to get their certificate of eligibility if their goal is to verify their ability, or they can just call me and I can go ahead and get that certificate of eligibility. But in all fairness, 99% of the time, if an individual has that DD-214, as you've indicated, they are eligible for benefits, and that includes a no money down mortgage loan.
Wow. Well, let's give out your contact information, Ron.
Sure. Thank you, Robert. My telephone number is 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. You can also reach me by going to lenderstexas.com, lenderstexas.com. Find me on Facebook as well, where I'm broadcasting live as the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team.
Now, Rob, another quick question about the veterans here. Do you have to be a first-time homeowner, or could you have bought a home before and still use this VA program?
No, sir. The VA benefits are evergreen benefits. In other words, they will refresh after you sell your first home, and in some cases, veterans are able to buy more than one home using those VA benefits. So it's a very flexible program with a lot of opportunity for veterans. And again, we speak about this all the time. The VA loan is clearly the best mortgage loan that's available in the marketplace for any consumers. Certainly you have to be a veteran, which is one pretty major caveat. But if you're a veteran, purchasing a home could not possibly be any easier, and there's really no good reason not to make that attempt, not to try and buy that home. The VA has no minimum credit score. The VA has exaggerated the debt-to-income ratios for us, all the way to a 65% back-end ratio. I put so many veterans into homes that thought they would never be homeowners. It's just a tremendous mortgage product, and again, same thing applies for veterans that are in a loan right now that want to refinance. Because you're a veteran, you can refinance without an appraisal, without income documentation, and regardless of credit score.
Oh my goodness, it just seems like, I salute our veterans because they put their lives on the line for this country, and it seems like the country is paying them back, because civilians, man, we don't get all those type of breaks there, but once again, we're not the ones putting our lives on the line in terms of this democratic republic. Rob, let's give out that contact information again, if we could, sir.
Yes, sir. My telephone number, one more time, 972-739-2350. That is 972-739-2350. You can also reach me directly at lenderstexas.com. That is lenderstexas.com. You can also catch me at the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team on Facebook.
All right, and real quickly, this question, that young lady that was pregnant and the benefits would not apply for her because she was not in long enough. How long do you have to be in before the benefits can apply?
Typically, the VA tells us that typically they want to see 2 years of service. That's it, 2 years of service to your country, and it doesn't have to necessarily be contiguous, meaning she could have clearly gone back after she had her child. It was her choice not to. So 2 years of contiguous service, but there's also other branches of the service that have entitlement, Robert. There's Coast Guard, there's the National Guard, there are the reserves. All of these people have entitlements to VA benefits, It's just a matter of how long they serve, and quite literally what their what the status is of their service. If they are deployed, and certainly if they go into a combat area, those requirements change significantly.
And once again, those widows can use these benefits.
I'm sorry, say that one more
The
time.
widows of those
Yes,
who
sir.
serve, they can use these benefits.
Yes, sir. The widows do have access to the veterans benefits, and I see a fair amount, unfortunately, of widows that come forward to try and use their deceased husband or wife, and in some cases their benefits. Now, with that said, understand on a VA loan, the only real quirky thing to remember is that you have to be the veteran and your spouse if you're trying to use somebody else on the loan. In other words, you can't throw mom and dad on the loan for the purpose of qualifying. The VA will not allow that. It has to be the veteran as a primary and or their spouse if they clearly have a spouse.
Yes. All right, let's see what. Let's get ready to pause right now for just a quick break. Once again, we're talking here with Rob Stern on Valentine's Day. Now, Rob, when we get back, once you start contemplating a little bit here, because we have a lot of couples out there. They're going to be celebrating, getting ready for marriage, but yet still have apartments. They're not in homes yet. What do you do after Valentine's night? He pops the question, and you're getting ready to get married. What about your housing situation? Do you get that house before you get married, or do you try to get that house together? All right, going to pause for a quick break. We'll be back before right after this.
Wow, that's a pretty deep question. That's a personal decision
Are
too.
you tired of that overweight, unhealthy body? If so,
Interesting.
with amazing weight loss today.
So today is Valentine's Day, and certainly I want to wish everybody who's watching a happy Valentine's Day, and certainly time with your significant other, whatever you choose to do, whether it's a bike ride around the park, or a nice dinner, or just spending time in front of the TV with maybe with the kids. Valentine's Day is a special day and a great time to go shop for a house, quite literally. There's never been a better climate for buying a home in the Fort Worth, Dallas area. There's so much accessibility. Builders are building houses faster than I've seen them built probably in the past 12 years. We're seeing new subdivisions pop up all over the place, and because of that, these builders in many cases are left with excess inventory they can't sell for one reason or another. Maybe the individual who they built the house for couldn't qualify for the home, or perhaps decided to back out for one reason or another. Those usually offer really good deals too for consumers. When I say good deals, you'll probably want to get a realtor before you go shopping in a new builder's neighborhood, and have that realtor negotiate for you. But certainly there is a lot of opportunity with these builders right now. Again, January was a little bit soft, and because January was a little bit soft, I think there's quite a bit of capacity out there in the marketplace. A lot of areas have really slowed down in the Fort Worth, Dallas market, and then again, there's a lot of areas that are extremely busy right now. Certainly, Plano, Frisco, Grand Prairie, Arlington. These are very active areas. Flower Mound, Grapevine. Houses are moving very quickly right now. But there's some other areas, maybe Forney, perhaps more outlying areas like Red Oak or Blue Mound, where things have slowed significantly, and a lot just depends on what you want as a consumer, where you want to live, how you want to live, where your priorities are. It's not atypical for an individual to want to live perhaps close to their church or synagogue or mosque, wherever they worship. It's not unusual to check out the school districts before you choose to buy a house. But what I'm really seeing happen more often than not now is that people are not dissuaded by driving time. People are not afraid to drive 30 to 45 minutes to work any longer, and that was a big issue for a long time. Anyway, I think we're getting ready to go back.
You are not starting your morning with us on KHBN each weekday, then you are missing all the fun. Don't miss your blessing. Tune in Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 9. It's Get Up Mornings with Eric Campbell on Heaven 97 KHBN.
All right, we thank you a lot there, Griff. We want to welcome you back to Community Forum at 97 KHML on a happy Valentine's Day on a Friday. Right now it's Kitchen Telephone time. About 1 to 26, still talking here with Rob Stern of Lenders Residential Mortgage. Glad to have Rob in studio with us here today. And we thank all of you who have gotten into homes and have bought homes and have worked along with Rob Stern. And we thank you so very much because we believe in these big ticket items. You know, Rob, you've been working with Fort Worth Mitsubishi and Taurus Ross, and I think a couple of days ago he told us we had sold about maybe 242 cars within maybe a 2 or 3 month period here, and we were trying to say, get yourself a nice car now, get yourself a home with Rob. Now, Rob, today's Valentine's Day, and you and I have both popped the question, so to speak, before. But now, what if a young man pops that question tonight, gets on his knee, and says, honey, will you marry me? What should their thoughts be when it comes down to their housing needs, Rob?
You know, that's a great question, Robert, and the answer is kind of profound. You know, young people are waiting longer these days to get married in just about every case, and certainly they are waiting longer to become homeowners. Used to be, we would see people in their early 20s strive towards home ownership, and that has actually accelerated to the point where now we're seeing people in their 30s that are considering their first home. You know, someone is fortunate enough to find the love of their life and they become engaged this evening. The first thing they should do, quite literally, is look at each other's situation from a financial and a credit perspective. And I know that's not always the easiest conversation necessarily. Quite truthfully, they probably should have that conversation before they get engaged. But you know, I would suggest anybody who chooses that course, and certainly matrimony is a wonderful experience. And I've been married now for going on my 36th year, but you know, I would say before anybody enters into a relationship that is that serious, they certainly should give us a call and let's look at credit and income and see what's going on, so that at least you know not only what you're walking into, but you can create some long range plans, whether it's 12 months down the road or 24 months down the road, what have you. Clearly, everybody has to have a place to live, and being able to acquire a place to live, whether it's a matter of an apartment or a townhouse or a condominium, or you want to buy that first home, the fact is you clearly should know what you're looking at from a financial perspective. There are so many great programs out there right now to assist with home ownership. As a matter of fact, we have developed a program with the state of Texas that allows an individual that will allow an individual meeting specific criteria to purchase a home without any down payment. It doesn't have to be a veteran, but they can purchase a home with assistance from the state that will equal or exceed the amount of that down payment, yeah, and perhaps even meet their closing costs. So there are some great opportunities out there for individuals to purchase a home right now, and certainly first-time home buyers are something that I work with a tremendous amount of the time. I see a lot of new homeowners, a lot of new home buyers, a lot of younger people who are just getting into the marketplace, and quite literally, also, Robert, a lot of older people who have just never taken that step towards home ownership, who've been renting for the majority of their life, and now they are in their perhaps 70s or even 80s in some cases. And they've decided that now is the right time to make that move.
Yes, and Rob, when couples get married, I mean, talking to each other about their credit scores and just finding out what they are in terms of credit, because you know, for some people that's a real sensitive issue and don't want to talk about it now. But after the I do's, you wind up you married somebody and they got a 300 credit score, and you might have a 700 or 800 credit score. I mean, can that cause problems when it comes down to trying to qualify for a home?
Well, it could. I think so. So a couple of things for our listeners to understand, and this is the big variable when it comes to mortgages. On an FHA loan, I do not have to use the credit of both individuals. I do have to look at the debt of both individuals, however. But that may or may not be a big issue depending on exactly what the credit reports look like, which is why it's so critical that we take a look at them. On a conforming loan, meaning a Fannie Mae or a Freddie Mac loan, I can use just one individual and the other individual's credit will never even enter the picture, but clearly I can't use their income in any form or fashion. There are so many vehicles for mortgage loans right now available that it's easier than it has been in a long time to get people qualified, whether it's VA or USDA or Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA. There's just so much access out there. But again, the real key is to start someplace where you have full disclosure and you know exactly what's going on. I have a lot of couples that I've worked with for 6 months, 12 months, in some cases even a few years to get them to the point where they can qualify for that mortgage loan. But again, love is a pretty special thing. I would never say that a relationship is going to bust up because somebody has that 300 credit score.
Right.
But still, you should know what you're getting yourself into. We should identify what the obstacles are as we get into a relationship, so that we know what we have to hurdle. As we say all the time on the show, you can't fix something if you don't know it's broken. Right?
That's right. That is indeed correct. Well, once again, Rob Stern is still in the building here with us today. Our phone lines are still open. Have a few more minutes here with Rob. So if you have a quick question or a comment, you've been thinking about marriage, you've been thinking about buying yourself a home, you're sick and tired of living in that apartment, 972-996-3970. That's our number to call. Now, Rob, also for those who are trying to improve their credit scores, can you help people with that?
Yeah, Robert, I would say for anybody that wants to put themselves in a better credit situation, certainly for the purpose of either purchasing a home or refinancing a home, excuse me, give me a telephone call and let's see what we can do to work through it. I don't mind pulling a credit report and reviewing it directly with an individual as far as what needs to be done. And I think that too often I hear of people who are paying these credit repair companies, in some cases $300 a month, $400 a month. I've talked to people that have paid thousands of dollars for credit repair. In many cases, that same money can be used to actually just eliminate debt and repair the credit once and for all. So I think, again, it's just a matter of having somebody that you trust, someone where you have that sense of confidence, look at what's going on, and to give you a firm and good, accurate evaluation of what's happening in your life. There are so many opportunities, so many ways to buy a home, to improve your credit, to refinance a home. You just have to start with that phone call.
Yes. Now, I've also another quick question for you. Realtors, I think a little bit earlier in the program we talked about it, and in the kind of market we're in here in Dallas-Fort Worth, are you hooked up with realtors where, take for example, somebody might say, well, Rob, I want to get me maybe $170,000, $160,000 home, and realtors can find those prices? Yes, sir.
There's several realtors I work with, and I love. I love working with realtors, but there's several realtors that I work with currently. A realtor actually is charged with the responsibility of helping an individual find the right home to meet not only to meet their budget, but to meet their expectations and their requirements. Everybody has a different set of criteria that they want to see, whether it's granite countertops in the kitchen, a study or a game room upstairs, or what have you. I want to live on a cul-de-sac. I mean, there's all these different parameters that a realtor can actually track down relatively easily by utilizing the multiple listing service, or the MLS. Now, with that being said, the realtor's responsibility to the consumer is for the real estate piece. My responsibility to the consumer is for the mortgage piece or the money piece, and we work together to make the transaction whole or complete the transaction.
Yes, indeed. One last quick question for you, Rob, and a couple wanted me to ask you this a couple of weeks ago, and I just thought about it. They're saying that because they went out and looked at some homes, and the young man felt that they were being overpriced. How do you determine if you're paying too much for, and particularly in a market like here in Dallas-Fort Worth, where the home values have almost doubled? How do you know that you're not paying too much for that house?
Well, I think a lot of it clearly is personal. It depends on your individual preference. But typically, if you have a realtor, the realtor will let you know if you are looking to pay too much for a home. And the reason that's important clearly is because When you pay more for a home than it appraises for, you actually end up having to bring additional money to the transaction. You can't finance a home for more than the house is actually worth. As an example, if a house is worth $200,000 and you're going to buy it for $205,000, you've just added $5,000 to your costs to close.
Ooh.
And that's one reason, quite literally, why every realtor will say, before we show you homes, you should go find a good lender that you're comfortable with and let them go ahead and get you pre-qualified. That way you'll know what you can afford to spend, so that you're not working in a situation where you're overcommitting. On the same token, that's one of the biggest problems with going to actual home builders without having representation, because these home builders only have a one-sided perspective, and that is to sell their homes. They're not looking to put you into a home that you can or can't afford. Their goal is to sell the inventory, sell the house that they have to work with, and then it becomes a personal choice, which in many cases can be clouded just by the overwhelming experience of a brand new house and all these other things that are being offered. So
Yes.
I highly suggest an individual work with a realtor, but before you even go to the realtor, call me and let's get you pre-qualified and pre-approved, so that you know what you can spend comfortably and develop a action plan to move forward. Then we can get you to a realtor and make your dream a reality.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rob, it's been an honor having you live in studio today. We've been missing you for the last couple of weeks here, but let's give out that contact information. Appreciate you coming today.
Thank you, Robert. Yes, sir. My telephone number, once again, 972-739-2350. That is 972-739-2350. You can also reach me on the internet. Just go to Lenders Texas, spelled out LendersTexas.com, or find me on Facebook as the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team.
All right, well, once again, everyone, we've been talking with the one and only Rob Stern, Habit 97 Kitchen right here on Habit 97 for 22 years or more. Now look at that commitment. And once again, we want to thank many of you for doing business with Rob, and also we want to thank everyone for doing business with us here on radio station Habit 97. Now, we are indeed a radio station that's in business for God. So once again, we thank you for being here. Rob, we'll talk to you next week, and have a good, happy Valentine's Day now, Rob.
Thank you, Robert. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
All right, we're going to also just a quick break and we get back on something special on this Valentine's Day. We'll be back with more right after this.